Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Fun Speculation Podcast. It is Thursday. It's a little after 7 p.m. Central Time, and we are high on games right now because we've had Gamescom. We had a GTA 6 finally got shown on Netflix of all places, and we got to see the first look at that. We're still also taking in this news that happened yesterday that set the entire gaming industry world ablaze, and it's surprising, actually. I mean, obviously the biggest news today is GTA 6, but we all knew that the Xbox disc to digital thing was going to happen. Yet, man, that has been one of the biggest news stories of the year, it seems like, as everybody is discussing it, what it means for the future gaming. They're talking about how awesome it is. Some are proving that they can't read, or that they are being intellectually dishonest. One of the two. I don't know. Some people just don't understand how things work sometimes. However, there's been a mostly positive and from some surprising people as well. And yeah, this is and the timing is interesting of the announcement of the Xbox Disc to Digital program. So we're gonna talk about all this stuff. We got Gamescom opening night live. We had, GTA 6. We have Disc to Digital thing. I mean, we have so much. Plus, also 2 awesome games came out today with Star Wars Zero Company and Resonance of Plague Tale, and like one of them's even in Game Pass. So the other one's actually in the EA Play Pro subscription. Here's a gaming subscription person. This is a good day for you. Lots to talk about, and I am joined by the one and only man himself, Fuzzy Belvedere. What's up, Fuzz? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here with you. Yeah, it's kind of like gamers Christmas all over again,
Yeah,
and a lot of great news for Xbox. I know a lot of people were concerned about the 25th anniversary console selling out or whatever, but yeah, it did its thing. Although I'm pretty sure bots and not Xbox bots, but bots probably bought up a few of those with what do you call them, scalpers and whatnot. But yeah, it's been pretty fun watching, Gamescom and, the GTA 6 trailer, but yeah, we got a lot to get into today.
yeah, man. It's been like really busy. There was like the lull of negative news. Because you had the Xbox layoff time and stuff right after the showcase. You had Xbox showcase in the June was just absolutely amazing. Then you had like all of this like doom and gloom again because everybody wants to say that Xbox is you know, never gonna succeed, all this other kind of shit, no matter what they do. And even people like Greg Miller were saying they should just stop making hardware and all that kind of stuff. People salty that they made Gears E Day an exclusive, all of that kind of stuff. You saw the turmoil of the games media going on for a while, and people running with a bunch of that bullshit, running left and right with rumors galore that were turned out mostly not to be true whatsoever in the ways that they were being reported on. Um, and now you have things started turning around again. You started having more positive momentum. They had Gears is getting a lot of hype. You had the betas generating hype. You just had the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 beta hit as well this past weekend, which we're also going to get another one this weekend, I think. So there's been a lot of that kind of stuff, and we knew that the GTA 6 stuff was going to be on the horizon. People were excited for Gamescom. Xbox, we knew was going to be at Gamescom. There was some false reports and rumors going on around there that it seemed like all of the insiders were reporting on about Ori. So we covered that last week. It ended up being completely bullshit. I don't even know how that came about, but there was everybody saying that there was a new Ori game in development. Now once Thomas Mahler, now that guy is something else, right? Once he came out and said he confirmed that there isn't, I'm like, okay, like he's not gonna say that unless like he's actually sure because he made that tweet like 6 hours or something after he made his original post about it, other people talking about it. Once he said he confirmed, like, okay, that's false. That rumor's not legit. But it was like, what is there still another game? And then Jez came out like, no, there's not gonna be a new game revealed, whatever. That's fine. We went into it at least with the right expectations, you know. And we had opening night live. Did you have a chance to watch opening night live, Fuzzy? You're on mute, bro.
Yeah, I got to watch a good bit of it. But yeah, actually, I think I watched your stream for the
Oh,
most
okay,
part
right on.
um, for opening night live. But yeah, there were some nice surprises in there. That one game that's kind of like anime, like a kind of anime style that I thought it was going to be another one of those gotcha games or whatever, but it's not.
Yeah, the
I
kind of
forget
like
what it's called.
mixed art style game. It's like anime, but it also like looked in parts like Resident Evil and shit. Like it was. Are you talking about that one? Yeah, I forget the name of
Yeah,
it, but that game looked really good too. It stood out.
yeah, and there was I was in the chat when that they had like that flub where it looked like the power went out for a sec. They started a trailer and then it went blank and then they went back to the opening night, the opening of Gamescom. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
could have sworn you all started another trailer and I did a rewind and it looked like that was supposed to be something Western related or it looked like a Western kind of horses and cowboys kind of thing,
Oh,
but
really?
I don't know if they ever got to show it any further from that. But yeah, there were some interesting games. The big talk about the cross between I guess Witcher and Diablo. So looking forward to see what that looks like as far as I guess cosmetics in Diablo 4. But getting the remaster for free thanks to smart delivery and stuff like that was pretty cool. Although I'm assuming CD Projekt Red is making sure that everybody gets a free copy, so I don't think
Hmm.
PlayStation is even allowed to charge for it. So um, that was pretty cool. But yeah, there's a lot of cool games coming out, and I think the big one that a lot of people were looking forward to, as far as like a deeper dive, was Fable. And with
Hmm.
Fable, I guess that was yesterday. It wasn't really opening night, but yesterday, getting to see more of the combat, getting to see more of the scope of the town, like walking through the town and seeing how dense it is. I mean, you have each person or each NPC has their own lives and looks at you a different way depending on your interactions and things. So that's going to be pretty cool. But man, it's gamers overload for the past couple of days.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I thought opening night live was pretty good, especially the first like 2/3. Like I did the co-stream, and they had a lot of momentum going on. I mean, like Rainbow Six Tactics surprised the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Like that was a huge surprise. Like I'm a tactics game fan, so like XCOM or Final Fantasy Tactics or whatever it is, Midnight Suns. I liked a lot. And then we have now Zero Company today that hit, and I got to play a little bit of that, and I'm really enjoying it so far. It's still really early on, but that game, I saw lots of people commenting on how surprised they were about how kind of awesome it is, and you're talking about not just tactics kind of gamers, but gamers that like a good story and all that other kind of stuff. And then early on, my impression of it is like it's taken that kind of like XCOM genre, up a notch. And this is the Bit Reactor, who's the main developer working on it, and they're being like kind of overseen by Respawn. Um, but Bit Reactor is made up of former devs of Firaxis, right? XCOM, Midnight Suns, and all that kind of stuff. So they're the right people to do this. And in fact, I think one of the main guys behind it is the lead developer on Midnight Suns. So um, they did a lot with Midnight Suns to take it to another level, right? Not a lot of people didn't like the card based stuff in that game, but after playing it, it just made sense. It was actually really awesome. In this, they elevated again, like the hub world that you have on your ship, and or not your ship, but like the um, cargo area you're at is kind of like your home base. Is awesome. You can walk around it and interact with things and stuff, and interact with your crew and all these different kinds of things. And really enjoying it. Or I'm really early on so far, but it's doing it right, and it is very Star Wars. Like if they get the music, they get the theme. It doesn't come across as like a gimmicky type thing at all. It feels like something that if you're a Star Wars fan, you should play, right? So that's absolutely awesome. I haven't had a chance to mess with Plague Tale yet, but that's one that's out there. Uh, but yeah, man, it's like Rainbow Six Tactics was like, holy shit, I'm a big Tactics fan, and I love Rainbow Six. I've been wanting for more kind of stuff, and there's no better marriage, really, almost for like if you were to do like a SWAT based kind of tactics game. Rainbow Six is where it's at. So I applaud Ubisoft for doing this. This is absolutely incredible. I got super excited. I was out of the blue for me. Didn't expect that. I thought Warlock looked really good. I asked Pong about it. He wasn't impressed because I thought that it might be up his alley, but he wasn't into what he saw of that game, and he made some good points with what his takes were. For me though, I was looking at it. I loved the take on some of the abilities and the effects they had on some of the abilities and stuff because I hadn't seen them done that way before. And I thought it just kind of looked dark, and at like really good atmosphere and stuff. So, looking forward to giving that a go at some point. Um, the Gears trailer, Gears E-Day campaign trailer, that was chill inducing, bro. And if you
Mhm.
guys notice, after the end of that trailer, that was maybe the biggest reaction in the crowd at Gamescom. Like they were excited for what they just saw. And there's been lots of people coming away from the previews at Gamescom talking about, holy shit, this could end up being maybe the best Gears that we've played, at least since 3, right? So that is awesome to hear as well.
Literally melting faces.
Yeah. God, it looks so, I mean, it looks so good. The story, like, it just looks like it's hitting on all the right points. You know, like the just the design of the levels and stuff, like the whole thing is just looking like it's a story that needed to be told in Gears, not just for the sake of it, you know? And I can't wait to play that game. So I mean, other than that, there was lots of other things that they showed that I thought were really cool, but those are kind of like the major standouts for me at opening night live. The last third of the show, they had a bunch of random shit that it seemed like they were showing a bunch of like kind of free to play type stuff, like a bunch of who knows what things, you know, and then they ended it off with Final Fantasy 7 Revelations, which I think looked great. But by that time, they had already kind of put me to sleep with that last third of the show, and then there was the cool news about The Witcher 3. Now I got to give them props too. CD Projekt Red does awesome stuff like this at times, and this is the second big update we're getting for Witcher 3. Because if you guys remember, there was actually already a big update that we got for this generation of consoles. And this is taking it up a notch. I think maybe they've been working on stuff because they're working on Witcher 4. And so they're bringing it with a lot more technology and stuff and giving us the Witcher 3 enhanced version or the remaster if you already own the original. But also, they just gave away the other 2 original DLCs for people that don't have them. Absolutely amazing. And they also announced that when that is launched in September, I think it's September 29th, it's Xbox Play Anywhere. So right now, I think you can only do the stream your own game with it. But when that launches, it'll be Xbox Play Anywhere, which means if you do decide you want to get a used copy of Witcher 3 on Xbox One, you will end up getting the latest version in the digital form, and you can play it on your PC, you can play it on your console, and all that stuff, because it will probably be part of the Disc to Digital program. That's not confirmed yet because, you know, the third-party publishers have to, like, agree to be a part of it. So if it is, then you'll be able to do that with that game, which is absolutely crazy, man. Like, and I don't think people are thinking about this kind of stuff enough with Disc to Digital. But that kind of stole the announcements the day after opening that live. Like the Disc to Digital, I mean, they showed Fable, but the Disc to Digital thing really took off. Jason Ronald had mentioned it on their stream, but then also Asha Sharma's tweet blew up. And it's actually her most popular tweet so far. It's been absolutely crazy. Now, is there anything surprising to you about the Disc to Digital announcement, Fuzzy? Or is this kind of what you expected?
Kind of what I expected, because I knew the 360 stuff and original Xbox stuff wouldn't be ready just yet. I know that that's coming either later this year or early next year. But as far as going through like the insider program, I figure I won't say it'll be short lived in there, but it'll probably go a month or so to make sure everything is working as intended, and then it'll be rolled out probably in time for their 25th anniversary in November. So I'm glad they're doing this. Like the biggest thing is when I got my Xbox One, I think it was like 2014. So from 2014 to 2016, I was still buying physical discs for stuff. And I had to because with having the boys, I'd have to get a disc for myself and a disc for them. And then I realized, oh, if I get the digital copy, I don't have to worry about, having to get them an extra disc kind of thing. But there's a handful of games from that time period that I know some of them I got as games with gold, but other ones, they're just sitting in a case. So this is going to be an awesome way to turn them into digital, and I can put them back in the case, kind of thing, and leave them be. But now I have a digital copy that follows me to PC in a lot of cases, or follows me to each one of the Xbox consoles in the house, type of thing. So it's awesome.
Yeah, man. And the cool, like, this is very similar to what was originally planned back in 2013, because they put the technology in there and started imprinting the disc with the information. But it's not entirely the same because it's more simplified. So, like, what a lot of people were worried about is, well, what happens to my disc? You know what I mean? And that's just what you still see. People are like, oh, what, I don't want to, I'm a physical gamer. I don't want to convert my disc into digital. Then it's just a license. Well, news to you, your physical copy is actually just a license as well. You read the terms and conditions on both. It's the same. Pretty much the difference is you can sell or trade your piece of plastic disc, and which is a valuable benefit to physical, right? That's the most tangible benefit to having physical gaming, is what you can do with the disc, being able to give somebody else the license, or being able to sell the disc that contains the license to somebody else, right? And what this is doing is, you have your disc, you put it in, and then it'll still just work like the regular disc, but it's going to grant you also the digital license. So, therefore, if a game is, let's say you're just a physical gamer, you don't have a PC or you don't do anything else, you just play on one console, fine. You just take the disc out if you want, you can leave it in there, you play it like you always have. Or if you decide you don't want to put the disc in because you're lazy like me, then you just keep it somewhere in your collection on a shelf or whatever, right? If you ever decide you want to sell that game to somebody, when they boot it up, they'll get the license as well as the digital license, right? Just because you sold them the product. Same as now. If you have a physical game, you sell it to somebody, they get the game, right? That's how it's going to work. I've seen so many people, but if you sell it to somebody and they use it, it's going to take away your life. No shit. You're fucking selling to them. That's the point. That's the benefit. That is the actual benefit of this program, for especially, like, it's amazing to be able to have a digital license for something that is sellable and tradable. Now, you have a physical key that it gives you access to that. So you can sell them the physical, you also get the digital. Absolutely amazing. It's like best of both worlds, right? But yeah, you just put it in, it'll give you the license. And now if the game is Play Anywhere, and you're a Play Anywhere person like me, well, hey, what used to be just a disc in that box world where you just play that version of the game on that box, guess what? Now, if you got a PC and it's Play Anywhere, you can play that game on your PC. Or if you got an Xbox ROG Ally X, you can play it on there. Or let's say Helix does not have a disk drive, which most likely it's probably not going to have a disk drive. Everybody, I think at most we can probably hope for a add-on drive.
Yeah.
I think that's probably where this is going, and I think it could end up being an add-on drive that's usable either on a Helix or a PC. That's where I think we could be headed with the option for physical in the future, for people to have an option to be able to convert their libraries to digital, but also just be able to play their physical games the old school way if they want to as well, right? I think that's something that they will probably announce at some point. That's not any kind of insider thing. That's just an assumption that I have. And when Paris and Danny Pena were interviewing Jason Ronald, they asked him about, what about PC, blah, blah, what about this? And he's like, nothing to announce right now. I think they're cooking on some stuff regarding that.
Yeah.
But if the game is Play Anywhere, your physical version now has the added benefit. You have the Xbox One game or Series X game, whatever. Now you have access to all these different places you never had before. You can put the game away on a shelf, store it in a box, whatever. If you decide, hey, you're done with this, you know you're done, take that game, sell it. When they put it in their disk drive, they'll get all the same benefits that you had, and you're able to sell and trade. This is so simplified and so awesome, Fuzzy, that me, who's somebody who has been digital since the Xbox One generation, right? I have like one physical game right now. That's like current. I have some older stuff too, but I'm actually going to be starting collecting Xbox Play Anywhere physical games that I don't currently own. Because I know if I ever want to get rid of them, or if I want to sell them or trade them, I can. And I can't do that now. So even as a digital gamer, if you prefer that all the benefits of digital gaming, having all the library at your disposal, at your fingertips, and all that kind of stuff, this has an added benefit for you. If you don't mind taking up a little space somewhere, you have an option of shopping in more places. The only thing it's going to cost you is having to take the time to stick that disc in a drive. One time. And I'm like starting to make a list, Play Anywhere games that I want that I haven't bought yet, and I'll be shopping around used physical copies around and start a collection, man. And I haven't had that since it's been like 14, 15 years since I was like even in that market, you know? So this is doing wonders for consumers. It's giving you options, and people are so focused on what does this mean for Helix? What's the death physical? It's not gonna have this. Focus on now, man. Even if that's the case, you're giving you a fucking off ramp to next gen. They're giving you an off ramp to the future that is probably only digital, right? You know what? You know what PlayStation's off ramp is? It's a fucking brick wall. You're going down a highway, right? You got the current way, physical and digital. It's a 2-lane fucking highway. It's just going straight. PlayStation and Xbox are traveling down the same fucking path, right? It's a fucking highway. It's blazing down the speed of light. Oh, here comes next gen. We're going to have to take a fucking turn, right? We're going to have to take a fucking turn. Oh, things are changing. Digital only. What do? PlayStation's like, oh shit, we don't have an answer. Fucking everybody slams into the fucking wall and their whole library explodes and they can't carry anything fucking with them. They have a whole truckload of physical games that are fucking worthless. You better keep your PS5s. Xbox gamers, you got a nice, easy off-ramp over there onto that fucking digital highway. Easy off-ramp. Well, hey, I'm not a huge fan of digital only, but at least this 1,000 games I have sitting on this wall of shelves, I can just sit there and put in my disk drive one time. Right, I have my Series X because if you have that collection, you probably have a disk drive. Do it while you got it. And then if you decide you want a Helix down the road, you'll still have your games. Amazing. I hope the PlayStation gamers get that off-ramp, man, but I don't know if it's possible. Like, do you think, is this going to interest you in buying physical games again, like me, or like that's what entered my mind, Fuzz?
It all depends. Like I think for me, it'll be one of those things where steelbooks will become more of a sought after thing. Because I stopped doing the steelbook stuff because I was mainly going digital. But I can go back to doing steelbooks at least, and then not have to worry about buying two copies, like a physical and a digital copy. I'll have that digital copy based on that steelbook edition type of deal. So I'm probably not going to buy as many physical moving forward, but collector's edition steelbooks, yeah. The other big thing is for those that are in the physical only crowd, less likelihood of scratching the discs or having anything happen to them. Put them in there, convert it to a digital key, put them back in the case, and not have to put fingers on them ever again, kind of thing. So you're less likely to do any harm or damage over time. But one thing that I am worried about would be that the price of certain used games
Oh, they're gonna go up.
probably just doubled
Yeah.
overnight. So GameStop, the same place that gives you 2 cents for, Assassin's Creed or something like that, is now probably going to charge you, instead of the buy two get one free, or $30 or 39.99, it's probably now 59.99, knowing that you're getting a physical and a digital copy all in one kind of thing on Xbox. So that's the only thing I'm concerned about. But it also plays into fair play with GameFly. So with GameFly, when they sell some of their older discs, you get a pretty decent discount. So it might be
Mm-hmm.
worthwhile looking at some of their sales for disc copies and things. And no, you can't rent the game at GameFly and think that, oh, I got a digital copy and I can send it back. And
Yeah.
then no, you'll lose that copy. So I've seen a lot of that concern about, well, what if this and what if that, and it's like, okay, so before this program, when you had the disc, if you loaned it to a friend, can you play that disc at the same time they can play it? No, because
Right.
you loaned it to your friend, it's in their machine. What I strongly suggest to people is, don't bring the disc with you if you're going to your friend's house and you want to play the game. Just log into their console and download the game. You don't have to worry about losing your license. What you'll do is you'll download the game. It'll be playable as long as you're logged in. When you leave your friend's house and you're no longer logged in, by the way, don't put your credentials in, or don't save your credentials in there. I mean, you can if you really trust that person, friend or family or whatever, but I wouldn't recommend it. But, you know, once you're logged out of that and you go back home to play on your console, they're not going to be able to play that downloaded game. So they might as well, delete it off the hard drive to, make space for whatever other games they want to play. But that's the way you can share games, is the way people have been doing game share for a while. Just, I wouldn't recommend changing the whole home console thing, but that's the better way, as opposed to bringing the disc with you and be like, hey, try this out. Oh no, you took my digital copy, give me my disc back, kind of thing. But
Right.
yeah, this is an awesome program. Glad that they're doing this. It's going to alleviate some of the duplicate purchases that I would have to make if I wanted to replace all of those, physical copies that I didn't actually wind up buying a digital copy anyway, or receiving it in games and gold, for gold type of thing. But man, I kind of wish they would did this sooner. But the fact that it's now and it's right around the corner for the mass public that are not in the insider program, it's awesome. It's just
Yeah.
an awesome thing. And I'm already seeing people trying to spin it a certain way, but let them spin in
Yeah.
place like the disc.
Well, and to your scenarios too, like I would think like, okay, so you just let's say you go to a friend's house, you take the disc with you, put it in. Yeah, they're granted the license, but as soon as you bring it back home and put it in your box, it's granted back to you anyway. So it
Right.
just kind of goes along wherever the disc is, to whatever
Hmm.
account plays a disc. Now, like you said though, if you log into your account you on their Xbox and put the disc in, then it's still your, what I mean? It's not going to move. But even if it did move, it wouldn't fucking matter because when you go back home, it's going to be back on yours anyway, right? So
Yeah.
it's really there's it's so simplistic with the way that it's set up that there's not a negative here to really find. And though people are jumping to the whole helix thing, you know what I mean? And well, this is just an off ramp. Well, the fuck, even if that's what it is, right? Even if that's the way they're thinking of it, right? Even if that's what Xbox is doing, that is still a positive, right?
Mhm.
Because nobody else is doing that.
Yeah.
Secondly, regardless of what happens in the future, this is still going to benefit every single Xbox gamer from this point on forever, as
Yeah.
long as this program continues. And I don't see how they can really once they give the green light on this, I don't think there's any going back. Once everybody puts their disc in and they have digital copies and all that kind of stuff, it's just that's it. So
Mhm.
it's going to be benefiting all of us. That used market that you're talking about, yeah, it may make the used games go up, Fuzz, But that's also a positive for the gamers because it actually adds value to your physical library, right? So all of your physical library that you have, the value is going to be withstanding better because it has those discs have more value now, right? It adds value to every physical game you own because it gives it more features, more benefits. Um, again, I think of it like being able to buy or sell and trade your digital games in a way. Like it is really absolutely awesome if you're a digital gamer and think of it that way. But also, it's beneficial to physical gamers because they're getting the benefits that they've been missing out on because they have been just the disc in the box, right? There's all these other things that can play anywhere and all those other kind of things that they can take advantage of, and it's going to be benefiting all of us regardless of what happens in the future, for all of the library of Xbox One and Series X games, right? And that's absolutely awesome. And I think they're not done. Like I said, I think they're trying to work on some solutions for maybe original Xbox and 360 games, but like that's going to be another beast to take on because they don't have those identifiers on the disc, right? Um, we'll see if they come up with a solution. They at that point they just kind of got to be like free for all. I think almost so they can try and come up with a free for all solution. Emulation, some kind of other system there. Maybe have a way to grant a disc a license or something. Don't know if that's possible, but they're working on stuff there, and it's absolutely awesome to see that and to see a lot of the reaction from the people that aren't just trying to like twist or find some way to make this an because it's going to happen every time with Xbox. People are going to try and find something negative here, but they are struggling with this one, man. They are struggling, and the ones that are really out there, they keep saying shit that doesn't make sense. That's not real. That it's not true. That's like not the way it actually operates. And they're easily corrected, and then they just stop commenting. I've had 2 or 3 exchanges where people just keep trying to come back at me with shit, and I was like, "No, that's not how it works. No, that's not how it works. So this is the you know." And it's like eventually they just don't have anything to say, you know. Um, it's absolutely awesome to see this because it is such a pro consumer move, man. It is such a pro consumer move, and it needs to be celebrated for just that. Despite what the future holds, this is an amazing feature that Xbox gamers get the benefit of that nobody else does. And they're setting the standard there, man. Um, it is putting a lot of pressure on PlayStation. Like this PlayStation, like this so-called blackout is happening right now, right? The timing of this. Do you think the timing was we're gonna wait and do it at Gamescom because we know when that blackout is, or do you think like it was just gonna be at Gamescom anyway?
I think it was going to be at Gamescom anyway, but it is ironic or um, pure coincidence. I think
Yeah.
as far as the timing, it's maybe it was just meant to be. Like everybody that's on PlayStation is looking over at PlayStation, ignoring them about this whole physical copy stuff, and here's Xbox just mind their business, saying, you know what, we're going to take care of our customers because the console's the focus, and we promised this, so here you go. And I don't know. I've seen a couple of things about how PlayStation, because they didn't have that tech on their PS4 disc and things like that, they won't be able to replicate something like this, and it's a shame. It would be an awesome thing if it was available on PlayStation as well, but it isn't. So sucks. I hey, I've seen enough people on social media saying, well, they're getting an Xbox, and that we've seen that for the past month or two, how Xbox has been moving, has been, catching some of the, once faithful 360 owners that went PS4, kind of taking notice of what Xbox is doing and kind of coming back home kind of thing. So But yeah, it was some great timing for this program considering the blackout. Although I will admit I'm participating in an indirect way. Like normally,
Yeah.
my wife's PS4 and my PS5 are in sleep mode. I just cut them off. They're I like if I'm not playing Gran Turismo, my PS5 is collecting dust. Um, with the PS4 downstairs, I have my wife on one of the Series S's now to watch movies because that, other than playing Don't Starve, which we've had it on both Xbox and PlayStation for years now, she plays it on the Series S, or she'll play Diablo 4 in the Series S, and PS4 is just collecting dust now. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah, it's funny too. Like the day after that announcement, the 25th anniversary Xbox gets pre-orders go live, and they sold out in like 1 to 2 minutes. A lot of people are upset because they wanted to get one, but like I don't know how many of them they had. There wasn't that many, right? So they
I
sold
think they
out.
made 25,000 total, and they're numbered.
Yeah,
And because it's 5 stores, I'm going to take a wild guess. Maybe my math isn't mathing, but I'm figuring those 5 stores probably had 5,000 each. And it started with Microsoft Store, and that was like a blink of an eye. They were
yeah.
gone. And then there's Walmart, Best Buy, and a couple other stores I can't remember. But yeah, I saw some unusual takes like, oh, well, that guarantees that the next gen is going to be expensive. Well, that I don't think
This is a very
that's a
limited
direct
item.
core.
Yeah,
Yeah, it the fact that it's 25,000 units at that price, I don't think gives us an indication of what the next gen one's price will be. I'm just looking at it as this is a high demand on a quote unquote rare item. And I didn't see the same concern when the, I guess it's what, the 30 or 35th anniversary, or maybe it's 40th anniversary at this point for the PlayStation, when they had the regular PS5 and the PS5 Pro anniversary edition, and those were like $1,000, and I didn't see people be like, oh, I guess the next console is going to be $1,000 because of this anniversary one selling out. And it's just limited edition stuff sells. Unfortunately, some of the people that really want it get beat out by these scalper bots. But the scalpers, I don't think they're going to get 3,500. I've seen some of them going on eBay and other places for 3,500. I don't think anybody's crazy enough to pay that. They're just probably going to sit on them for a bit. I mean, I could see people paying up to 1,500, although I wouldn't recommend it. But 1,000, I think some people might, I wouldn't say be desperate enough, but want it bad enough, and knowing that they're going to use it or have a special place in their collection, they might be willing to pay 1,000. But these scalpers, if they think they're going to get 25 or 3,500, they're out of their mind
yeah.
at this point.
I remember like Ryan McCaffrey was like, "Oh, it's with the price. I don't even know if it's gonna sell out." Oh my gosh, like so fast, dude. I think Amazon's still doing flickering, like they're put it up, take it down, put it up, take it
Mm-hmm.
down, to try and allow more different people to get them at different times and stuff. So keep your
Yeah.
eyes up for Amazon if you're still trying to get one. Um, yeah, and
Somebody needs to take Ryan McCafferty's Xbox card. Like, for an
yeah.
Xbox guy, he seems awfully concerned about Xbox stuff, but is quick to point out, "Oh, I bought this PS5 Pro for GTA 5 or GTA 6," and I think he even got an anniversary edition. I could be wrong, but
Yeah, which was like
like, dude,
I mean, it came with a bunch of other shit, right? But it's like 1,000, right? I
but
think.
still,
Oh, yeah,
yeah, but still, like, I didn't see that. Oh, it's hope it sells out. No, whatever.
yeah.
I'll leave him alone.
I mean, who knows what the pricing of next gen is going to be? I think like Asha's made some comments during an interview about trying to figure out a ways to be affordable and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Options are a key part of that. Like options are good for customers, and like that's what the whole just the digital thing kind of offers people is more options, and that's something that you can't ever take away. Like no matter what, like I said, no matter what the concern is of the future of gaming, that's going to happen, whatever is done today or not. You know what I mean? That's eventually gaming will be, if not like 95% 5% digital, like with maybe just limited edition type physical stuff that you may have to get like a special attachment or something to be able to play. I think eventually it'll probably get there, right? Don't know what's going to happen next gen, except for PlayStation. You know, they've already said that, right? Nintendo's going to stay physical the longest, I think. But even they ended up offering more of a digital solution this generation as more of their customers are going digital. Um, the optical drive issue is a thing. There's multiple issues with having disc for next gen. There's the manufacturing issue where there's hardly any more manufacturers for them. The companies that had been making those have kind of transitioned to doing other things. But besides that, even if you are like, hey, we are buying this company and ramping up the, this for just for us, or whatever, whatever the solution is, and that is the least of the problems. I mean, it is a problem, but money can solve that problem, in my opinion. Like if they so choose, how much they're willing to spend. But there's other issues with as gaming gets more advanced. The discs are becoming, as they're not being used for actually running the games because they can't spin fast enough. Like a disc has a certain spin rate basically before it won't work, right? Or like it'll break or whatever. And the amount of data that these new games have to read is immense. Not only that, you can't fit most games on these discs anymore, so you'd have to have multiple discs. So you have special collector's editions where you have like 4 discs or whatever, right? But that doesn't even solve the problem of the spin rate, right? And being able to load information fast enough off of a disc. So that's why you have, the disc get installed now because it's reading the game off of that. But a lot of people like, well, I want physical and I want to, just have the disc and all the information on the disc, and that's just what it is, right? It's just not the way that technology is advanced towards, right? Like the technology of disc is kind of becoming a little bit obsolete for gaming in many different ways, where it is pretty much just a holder for a license, right? A little bit of information holder for a license as these games get bigger. Sure, there's plenty of games that you can still use for a disc. I think discs are important to have as an option just for that physical attribute or some form of media. You talk about, okay, well, what if we just do flashcards like Nintendo? Well, shit, you've seen the prices going on in storage? So how much, like, Nintendo's pulling it off now, but they have to sell the physical copies for more than the digital, and what trend will that continue? I don't know what the solution is for physical gaming going forward in the future, but realistically, eventually it is probably gonna keep going more all digital, right? And the games keep growing, getting more impressive, and we don't want that to stop. Otherwise, we would be Nintendo everywhere, and you don't want that either, right? You want everybody to be fucking Nintendo. Nintendo's Nintendo. Let them be that, and PlayStation to Xbox be what they are. But yeah, I mean, PlayStation fell on that sword. I was shocking as hell to me. I think it's important to try and have an option for gamers, one way or another. And I think that's what Xbox is trying to figure out, like what that's going to be, right? This is a part of it, I believe. The other part may be that like optional disk drive for people to purchase, and that could end up becoming eventually a solution for PlayStation as well, just for the backwards compatibility, right? Who knows? But at that point, you wouldn't need as many of them because not every console owner is going to end up wanting one, right? So the whole manufacturing issue is not as much of a problem. But yeah, that's for another day, right? Disc to Digital is here today, or not today. for insiders at the end of this month, and for the rest of us soon. And that's a big plus for every single one of us. But yeah, Fuzz, like, two games came out today. Star Wars Zero Company, Plague Tale, Resonance of Plague Tale's story, Plague Tale Story, I think is what it's called. What are you excited for Plague Tale at all, or
Plague Tale, yes. Star Wars, I'm gonna have to wait. But then again, that's part of my boycott of EA on day one stuff to some extent. But yeah, I the Star Wars one looks like it's a lot of fun. I that one I'll probably wind up picking up sooner rather than later. But Plague's Tale I just downloaded this afternoon. Haven't gotten the chance to starting it up yet, but love how the visuals look on that. So that's going to be one of those. Try to see if I can get 1,000 gamer score on it, and try to keep it up with the beating of the collection kind of thing. But yeah, it's great when you have a subscription service that's still getting these day one releases. Um, I know it may be overshadowed because of Grand Theft Auto doing its unveiling today, but yeah, I think that was a pretty good get because the Plague's Tale titles have been awesome as far as games in the service and just an awesome game in general. And today was a nice launch day that just was in the shadow of a behemoth that people have been waiting for, regardless of whatever leaks have been going on for the past week or two.
yeah, um, it's hard to keep up with so much play. I mean, I've been really into Madden too. I
Mm.
play it every year, so I've been big into Madden because I'm in football mode. It's been training camp and preseason, and then you had Zero Company just hit as well. So there's lots of stuff to look forward to, and it doesn't get easier when these companies just keep having awesome trailers and shit. But yeah, it's Gears E Day, like, hype level increased. What did you think about Fable?
So with Fable, I never played the originals on the 360 or anything like that. So at first, when it was announced, I was like, it's Playground Games. They'll make it look good. But then again, looking back at something like Hogwarts Legacy and stuff like that, never was a Harry Potter guy. So after seeing some of the combat of that, I was like, all right, I'll get it. Picked it up. Loved that game. I like a lot of the combat and magic, like the switching between the magic and then like melee weapons or arrows and things like that. So combat looks fluid. The fact that there's going to be varying enemy types and they're not, some of them seem like they kind of wait, but they do wind up trying to surround you and attack you. Um, so I like that type of assault, I guess you could say, as far as when you're in a game fighting against other NPCs and stuff. Uh, the fact that you're going to be able to level up things or purchasing of property, the fact that you can have your own family. I know they didn't go into detail as far as if it's like the original games with STDs and things
Yeah.
like that. But I noticed as the main character was walking past the chickens, like a little circle would pop up on them. So I'm assuming at any time you can kick one of them if you should choose to, but then they'll probably ruin your reputation of whoever owns those chickens and stuff. But the visuals look great. I don't know if it's because it's a create a character type of thing where the original main character is no longer visible, or it didn't look like it looked more like beyond a variation of the previous main character. But if it's a create a character, which most RPGs these days are like that, that would be pretty cool. But even if it's like, oh, select from these 5 or 6, pre-made characters, I'm fine with that too. The game itself is the main thing that looks like it's going to be fun. The combat, definitely one of those things I'm looking forward to. The fact that you can, you have choices with each interaction. Like you can either toss the beer on somebody or just hand it to them, or you can tell people to bugger off, or tell them to be more of an a-hole type of thing. Those are all cool things in an RPG, and I'm looking forward to that. But that deeper dive, well played as far as what they showed, and kind of in a weird way, not to say spite Sony, but either release it a week before LaFay or whatever the god of LaFay thing, or just delay it even further, away from that, and kind of the spike, because it seems like Forza Horizon 6 is not coming in 2026 to PS5, so we'll see. Maybe there's an announcement at the Tokyo Game Show. We'll see, but yeah, I think Asha's. I wouldn't say she's playing hardball, but she's kind of done with the whole playing nicey, kumbaya with PlayStation these days. So we'll see what comes of it.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Like the Forza Horizon thing too. Like I don't even know what's going on with that. Like supposedly, like they're potentially pushing back the PS5 release for Forza Horizon, and it's supposed to they're supposed to have announced a date, but they kind of pushed it. It's maybe not till next year now, because it's supposed to be
Yeah.
fall, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I'm curious, is that just because it's such a selling point for Xbox that they're just like, hey, we can wait, we can wait, Is that going to be a thing with Fable too? Or is like, hey, we'll just make the like, who knows? I wouldn't pull it past them at this point. Like, I'm not saying that like I don't know what all the economics are of their decisions and all that kind of stuff, right? And Fable's a very expensive game for them to develop. It's been very long.
6 or 7 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's one of the more expensive games for them to develop, I would assume, right? And so I don't know what decisions they're going to make around the launch of that, but it wouldn't surprise me at this point with anything that they're doing. She has a very platform first mentality. It seems like Matthew Ball seems to have that mentality as well, who's the CSO, right? They're leading with Gears. I think they're going to see what kind of impact Gears has. Then they're going to have the Clockwork Revolution next year. And it will be interesting to keep an eye on like what they do, like how they market things going forward. That is because they removed the branding, you know, at Gamescom on the trailers. They took away the damn logos. Let those
Nice.
companies put out the trailers on their own YouTube channels. Let them promote your products, right? Because they're going to
Yeah.
want you to sell them, right? You don't need to make the tweets for them. They're going to do it, you know? Promote your own platform, your own storefront. And that's what she's doing, you know? That's what they started doing all around. There's been a whole strategy shift regarding all of this. So, but yeah, Fable for me, it was more of kind of what we saw in the last showing. You doing kind of around this one was in Bowerstone. So first off, Bowerstone was fucking amazing. I just can't wait to walk around Bowerstone and mess with people and stuff. Um, they had either a different character or they re-envisioned that character. I think it was a different character that you're playing as. And a lot of people hated the first girl's face. This is a different one for you, right? It suits your taste more, whatever. Um, and I think maybe they decided to go this way just so it's not a distraction from what everybody's talking about, or show that hey, there is other characters or whatever. Besides that, though, they showed some quests, interactions, the choices, and that's the stuff I get excited about more than the combat fuzzy. It's like the dialogue choices, and I'm always thinking like, what's going to happen in these different scenarios. And that's what Fable's all about, really. It's about choice and consequence around the entire world and how your character impacts everything, right? But then we got into the combat in the game, in the actual gameplay, and it looked really good. Like for a game like Fable, that's really solid looking combat. I thought like I liked how the arrows interacted, like when you hit them on the legs and they bounce back and it impacts them and all these kind of things. So overall, I thought the combat looked really good. It's not like the most amazing combat you're ever going to see or whatever, but that's not what this game is all about. You know, this game is about having fun, good combat in it, but it's not like a pure fucking hack and slash action game. This is an RPG, you know. And you'll be spending more time going around doing all the other stuff, but I did think the combat looked good as well. Early on too, like I kind of want to see the higher level stuff because like when they did show a glimpse of the skill tree and like everything was like level 1, you know, like, and they had just put a skill point to unlock the first ability. I want to see, because in Fable traditionally your character gets stronger and stronger and stronger. By the time you're really powerful, the spells look all crazy and all this other kind of stuff. So I want to see some more high level gameplay as well at some point with the combat. But from what I saw at this low level, looked really good too. So Fable showed out, man. A lot of I've seen some games media and people like saying like, "Wow, I just played I played Fable and I can't stop thinking about it." Stuff like that, you know? And I think that's going to be one of those games that leaves a mark with people. I think it is going to be one of those special games, you know? And that's important. Xbox like has these games showing like Gears, not to mention the one GameSpot person that had a fucking stupid um take on Gears today. Besides them, for the most part, it's been like absolutely glowing. People just buzzing and raving about Gears and Fable, and that's the kind of thing the energy you need around, you know. And they got to be very pleased with that. Such they're such on a fucking roll with positive momentum right now. You just gotta hope that something bad doesn't happen. Pussy, like this is, you know, every time you get this like awesome fucking momentum, it ends up being something at the end of it. I'm not trying to put that out there. I just hope it doesn't fucking happen because there's so much hype around Gears and then Fable and then the whole disc to digital thing, and then you have the special edition shit coming out. You know, you have all this awesome controllers that they just showed off with the Gears controller, and also the 25th anniversary controller. You have all this like stuff that everybody's like oohing and awing over everything that they're showing and doing right now. So keep up that momentum. Don't don't pull one of their moments, you know?
I to be honest, I think since Asha's taken the helm, I don't think they've had that rake step moment, a true rake step. Like the closest was more of like a internal spat between Booty and Ball, as far as like the you know assuming that all single player games will be exclusive versus like remasters or whatever. They had like a mixed message, but they've been so much better since then.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's really been a rake step moment since, and I don't expect one. Like, if there's to be a rake step moment, it fits with the times and the cost of things. Like, I know a lot of people kind of turn their nose up on the pricing on the 25th anniversary console, but it's a special edition. Nobody really turned their nose up when there was a PlayStation special edition as far as its pricing. Yes, it came with more stuff in terms of that, but all in all, I think the big things were they got through that pricing thing. No, it doesn't definitely mean that the next one will be in that price point or around about that. She's talking about affordability aspects for the next generation. I think what people may try to spin as a rake step would be if they say, okay, there will be two Helix. There's a 24 gigabyte and a 32 gigabyte. I'm just speculating. I don't have inside info, obviously, or anything like that. But based on what we saw on the specs that leaked, many, many months ago, they were saying something like a 42 gig or 48 gig or whatever, which I wouldn't say it doesn't mathematically make sense, but it's like overkill. So that's probably what their dev kit would be. But I think a 24 gig Helix is still very functional for what they're looking to do. Like, look at how the Xbox Ally 2.0 is going to be 24 gig as well. So I would say a Helix possibly priced in the $800 range. Yes, that's not completely affordable for everyone, but that's affordable compared to the 12 to 1500 that a lot of people have been speculating, but it would only be 24 gigs. And then I think the 32 gig is the one that everybody was like, oh, 1200 to 1500, and it'll probably be in that price point type of thing. It's 24 gigs on a portable, which remember you're paying a premium for a portable, even though it's not the same chipset or anything like that. You're paying 1200 for the that Z2 setup, the next Ally or Ally X2 or whatever type of thing. But I would say at least 2 to 300 of that is the premium of making it a portable device. But if she can figure out how to make two helixes, one somewhat reasonably priced and the other one what everybody's kind of expecting, I think that would be a crucial moment. But there's going to be the naysayers out there like, oh, they scaled it down. Oh, smoke and mirrors. It was supposed to be a premium product, and here they made another Series S. No, they're basically making it so you can actually, reasonably without having to do, you know, 36 monthly payments or something to get the thing. But we'll see how that whole pricing thing is, because there's another round of tariff talk about possibly consoles, but it seems like it's more so still the push to build chipsets here domestically, but without the foundries for that. It's like chicken and egg. So hopefully they come to a better approach on how to, build domestically, or encourage these companies to build domestically without, doing the tariffs, because the tariffs mainly hit us in the pocket. Yes, it hits the companies in the pocket, but in turn they hit us in the pocket.
Well, no, Nintendo got a fucking refund, man. Like they ain't giving us shit.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where if the and I don't want to do politics, but the better way to get manufacturers or to encourage them to build here is to give them tax breaks. Yes, they're already getting tons of tax breaks, but tax breaks would have to be like a local thing where, all right, build the foundry in Austin, Texas, or build the foundry in Arizona, or whatever the case is, and then they don't have to worry about paying property tax and their employee rate, because they're generating 200 or 2,000 jobs in that area. They can, take that as a grievance, well, not a grievance, but like a pass through where they don't have to pay as much tax because they're creating a larger tax base with the employment and stuff. But I think that's a more functional way. But we'll see what cooler heads prevail if that occurs, or if we go with another round of tariffs and watch consoles go up in price again because all the internals going up in price and stuff. But goddamn data centers, man. I don't know.
I mean, like certain companies are getting that for sure. Like I remember like Texas had a big initiative at some point. I don't know, for game development. Yeah, I've never been a big fan of that, like that negotiating tactic, whatever. This is the side of just other political stuff. I just, you know, when shit keeps making stuff more expensive for us, it sucks.
Yeah.
The AI push making everything more expensive for us, for gamers and tech, and now you're talking about doing tariffs and stuff. Like it's gonna be, at least in the short term, even more shitty than it already is as far as pricing goes on that stuff, and it's the wrong time to do it. Like um, let's start trying to make shit more affordable for everybody instead of more expensive. And um, yeah, it these consoles are getting so crazy expensive. The storage is crazy expensive. I want to see more affordability going around to everything. That would be nice, you know.
Yeah.
And that way, people aren't priced out of the hobby. Colin Moriarty, you asshole. You know. Um, yeah, people are out there struggling to be able to afford $80 games. You know,
Yeah.
and if they say that, hey, they think this company doesn't have to charge 80, doesn't mean that they're delusional. It's just them having a conversation about it, and somebody can't afford $80 at one point doesn't mean they have to get out of the fucking hobby. Just saying, let's. I don't know if you saw
Yeah.
that, Buzz. It's just a ridiculous
No,
thing, isn't it?
yeah. Well, I look at it this way. One, if we're shaming people for not being able to get an $80 game and there's still a used market out there, although his Pride and Joy platform is trying to get rid of that used market to some extent. Um, that's foolishness. Like that would be like, oh, you can't afford a new $100,000 car, then start walking. Like who does that type of foolishness? Like,
Right.
oh,
Yeah.
I know people that don't have to worry about that. So where, $100,000 car is like a pair of sneakers to them. Like, shut your mouth. You're not the normal public. You're not like the people in your audience. Great, you're
Yeah.
fortunate. Some people are. Not everybody is, especially in when it comes to hobbies. Whether you're a car enthusiast, a gaming enthusiast, or a gun enthusiast, like even some of that stuff is getting ridiculous now with cost of ammo and different things. But yeah, like I would just say if I'm in this fortunate position where $80 is like pennies to me, I would just shut my mouth about people that aren't having that easy of a time to get an $80 game. If anything, if I'm that big of a person and I want to have this presence in the community, then maybe I would, do raffles or donate games. It's like, you know what? Enough people are complaining about it, or maybe because he also creates games, maybe he should just make games that are, whatever price he chooses to make them at, and hope that the audience out there feels that they're worth that price. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of $80 games. I've said it numerous times.
Yeah.
When games were 60, I bought them. Didn't even think twice about them. A lot of times they'd sit in the backlog by the time they were, free games on either PSN or games with gold or whatever. Now that they're 70, it's like, all right, am I going to play this game right away? All right, I can wait until a sale, or I'll look on those sites where we can't really do it for PlayStation games, but whether it's for Steam or Xbox, oh, I can get it on Loaded or Aniba or GG for 10% off or 20% off sometimes even deeper discounts on a brand new game. I'll just do that. Like, I don't know. I enjoy keeping as much money in my pocket as I can while still enjoying my hobby. But that's
Yeah.
just me.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. Like, it's such a like elitist ad. Like, you don't belong to have the same hobby that I am because I can afford it and you can't. Like, it's you need to find something else to do. It's like, what are you, fucking part of a golf club? Is this fucking video games, bro? Like, I mean, come on. Like, really? Like we're talking. Not talking about fucking resort memberships here. You're talking about fucking being able to buy video games. You know, and yeah, like if all you have is $80 and you're trying to make the decision, what do I put it towards? Probably the best decision at that time is not a video game. That's obvious for any fucking body, right? I'm not saying there are people that wouldn't buy the video game because this is what they care about the most at the time. We've all been there. It's like shit. You're like a teenager or like a young person, and you're scraping by. And you're like you have that fucking game you've been waiting for because you fucking care about it so much, and it's what your passion is. And you got like, oh, you got your car payment due, you got to fucking pay your car insurance, you just had to pay your rent, and you're living paycheck to paycheck, and you got $50 left in the bank. Shit, I've been there. I fucking find something I can go fucking take to the pawn shop or sell because I need that fucking game because the rest of all this shit is so fucking stressful trying to fucking get
Mm-hmm.
by day by fucking day that I need that fucking release of that thing that I've been excited for because I'm a fucking gamer.
Yeah.
Not being able to afford something at a certain time doesn't make it not what you doesn't change who you are or what you're
Yeah.
passionate about. You know what I mean? It's like just that fucking elitist attitude, man. Just asshole mentality. Like, don't these voices like this don't belong speaking for the fucking video game industry. Period. Point blank. Sick of these asshats. Like, These people are not below you, bro. Nobody is. Anyway.
No, I've had those days of, or not days, but I've had those times where it's like, I guess I'm eating bologna sandwiches and ramen noodles for a bit longer. So, yeah.
Yeah, bro. Like
You,
it's
everybody, like for me, game has always been a stress reliever. Like it, let's put it this way: it's a better hobby or better fix than smoking. Not knocking anybody that smokes or vapes, but whew, I've seen how expensive that's gotten over the years. A pack of
oh yeah.
cigarettes went from $2 to $10. Like it feels like overnight. So, yeah.
It's crazy. Yep. Um and yeah, we speaking of the $80 game I was referring to, GTA 6. We just had the big Netflix reveal of 26 minutes of gameplay. Thatch, so real quick, Thatch says, doesn't he get a lot? Doesn't Khan get a lot of stuff for free as well? Supposedly he doesn't take free stuff from companies. Regardless, even if he does or doesn't, he has a fucking Patreon for all of these people to support the funding of buying those games and all that shit, right? Like we have memberships here and stuff like that, and we appreciate every single one of them, right? He has probably like thousands, of fucking paying like Patreons and all that kind of shit. He has multiple podcasts. He has all these kind of things that he does, right? Makes video games, all this other stuff, right? Like he has access through the funding of his audience for that, regardless of if he takes the free games, right? And yeah, he works for it. He deserves it. He deserves what he gets, right? This guy has put a lot of work into building what he built. I'm not trying to shame him for having anything that he has, but don't put down people to say they don't belong in the same hobby as you, because they don't. That's my point. So GTA 6, $80 game, $100 for the real game, because so much in-game shit is being held with the $100 edition. Got shown today on Netflix. 26 minutes of content, gameplay. Did you have a chance to watch this, folks?
Yes, although the first few minutes I was starting to get frustrated because it felt like there was going to be a crash on Netflix in general. Like it kept on giving me an error message for like the first minute or two, and then finally got it loaded up, played it, and then it was smooth sailing from there. But yeah, there was like I kept on getting like a NZ 503 error. Like something went wrong, and it's not you, it's us, kind of stuff. But yeah, I got to watch it. Pretty amazing.
Yeah. I was like, I've seen like little clips of the leaks and stuff, but I try not to pay attention to it or like watch it on a big screen, good quality, because this shit that you see scrolling through Twitter or whatever, and a lot of it's AI too, so you don't know what's real or what's not. So I haven't been paying a lot of attention to all these leaks that have been coming out recently that a lot of people have been posting. Um, there's been a lot of controversy with that too, because like there's a legitimate leak. There's controversy over how old the build was and what they're showing, all this other kind of stuff. There's debates on all that. I don't know what's real or what's not with any of that. I don't know who to believe on any of that shit, right? I don't even care. Because I know what I fucking saw. I know what I fucking saw today. I know what they showed me, what they were purposely trying to show me. And, we always have these, like, crazy expectations. Like, you have these crazy expectations, right? It's like, well, we know what Rockstar is, and we know who they've always been, and we know what they're capable of, right? And we talked about this before, Fuzzy. Like, every generation now, like, when they do release their thing, it makes everything else look like it was in another generation almost. You know what I mean? Like even some of the biggest, most impressive games, like even some of the most gorgeous games or any of that kind of stuff. It's like when you see what they do and it's shown off, it's setting a new standard, setting a new bar that every other developer out there is trying to somehow be able to achieve. And I was like, how is expectations about, like, is it gonna have that impact? You know? And it's like, again, you see it and it's like, I've never seen anything like this in a video game before that actually looks like this, you know? The fucking characters, the animation of the way that they're moving and talking and interacting, and the environment, how dense the environment is, like how lived in it looks, how much random shit there is everywhere, that it makes everything look legitimate and real and interactive, about like this is like a living, breathing place, like all these little details, you know. um the performances, the way that it comes across as like you're playing a movie, kind of like, because the performances of the interaction with the characters around you are actually like so good, and the movement and everything is so like, there's just so many things that like stand out as like, nobody's ever really achieved that like to this level, you know. We've seen things that are like, one game does one thing, like, wow, that they were amazing at that, you know. Like you can look at Ninja Theory and like the facial capture and the acting of the animation and all that, of just the close up detail and all that. Okay, but that's like, and this is like everywhere. You know what I mean? It like, you can look at um something like a God of War or something, about the animation and how the characters move, and with the action and stuff, and it's like, wow, that looks really good. But this is like in an open fucking world full of fucking tons of stuff just everywhere to do, you know. um they really set a new bar again, that, I mean, I don't know how it's going to run. You know, we'll see. But right now, I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, they actually did it again. Is that kind of what your impression is, like how you feel, or do you think there's still, is this smoke and mirrors kind of trailer, you think, somewhat, or?
No, no. I think this is a legit trailer in the sense of they said it was on PS5, the standard PS5, not the Pro, and I think they did that intentionally. Yes, it would have probably looked a little bit better if it was on the Pro, but I think they wanted people to get the gist of what to expect. Will the Pro, go that extra mile? Yeah, I'm pretty sure the reflection stuff or some of the, specular lighting might be improved over what we saw, but generally the fact that you're going to have like perspiration on the characters. We saw some of the early leaks from before about the perspiration even on bottles, like where it comes up as like, you have a cold drink, it's a warm day and it starts to sweat. We didn't see that particularly in this trailer, but they did, like, one thing you pointed out, like the movie aspect. There is a lot better transition from like your
Yeah.
perspective as gameplay to like a cutscene that feels like you're in a movie. Like when the guy got into the back of the car and was like, "Are you going to be a professional?" And like when she had to start driving and stuff like that. Like that transition with him like sliding around the back seat and then back to you driving kind of thing was pretty cool on how they did that. And that's them, I guess, taking it a step further because it wasn't quite as smooth of a transition in five. Like they had smooth transitions, but it didn't feel as movie like in that sense. But the the bombastic part of the apartment building, yes, it's going to be just as gory and violent as Grand Theft Auto has always been. But I like the fact that you can, I guess, it may be just a stage thing, but the fact that you can possibly push people through walls if you can, or at least seeing that in front of you while you're trying to get out of there was pretty cool. Um, the fact that the vehicles, if you're aiming for things like tires, it makes it more likely that the enemy vehicle chasing you is going to crash or flip or stuff like that. Very movie like, but the fact that that mechanic in previous car chases wasn't quite the same. Although you would have it where if you're shooting the helicopter, you could see some of those cutscenes where it was movie like. But this felt more engaged and more lived in because there was a lot more traffic, a lot more people walking on the street, a lot more cars on the road. And some of those cars and people walking sometimes get in the way, and that causes like a congestion thing. As opposed to like five, it would just be like a trash truck or something like that that would block the road or whatever. So it's a lot more involved, a lot more detail, a lot more detail in the clothing, um, a lot more detail in the hair and the overall appearance and stuff. And from what I'm hearing, the character builds will change based on your exercise. Like they showed um Luisa, I can't remember right, I
Uh,
forget her name. It's something with an L. It's I anyway, they showed her
Lucia, I think. Lucia.
Lucia.
Yeah.
They showed her lifting weights, so
Yeah.
it I guess based on your exercise and diet, your character will look slightly different depending, kind of like the way I guess they did in San Andreas to some extent. So it's good to see that that kind of features back. It's good that they have well, you can pet animals, you can play basketball, um, you can. There's going to be target practice stuff that you can do. Um, just everything. Like glad that the Molotov cocktails are still there. I like the fact that the mask for before you go to rob a place, you can put that on kind of
Yeah.
thing, as opposed to having to get dressed at the safe house. You can just quickly put on the mask before you walk in. And the funny thing is how the people respond. They're like, "Oh, they're getting out with a bandana on their face. All right, we're gonna exit stage left kind of thing." So yeah, it's and the fact that your character will try to hide the pistol that they already have out behind their back, so
Yeah.
it doesn't, I guess, have people screaming. So there's
That clip was
a
actually funny because the other two people saw her with the mask, and then so they're
mhm.
kind of like backed off, and started walking away.
Yeah, we're getting out. Yeah, we're gonna get out of here. But yeah,
Yeah, you
like
do your thing.
all,
We're gonna leave.
yeah, all those little details that Rockstar is famous for, putting that extra effort into, it showed up on this. So I'm anxious and impatiently waiting for November to come around. I mean, one, November is going to be cool for the fact that it's 25th anniversary, and I think we'll get to hear more about Helix at that point and see the whole celebration for Xbox. Come, I wouldn't say come to a close, but like the real send off of the official birthday kind of thing. But yeah, 4 days later with Grand Theft Auto 6 in our hands, able to play.
Yeah.
Yes, I originally said I was going to hold off and wait for PC. I know that there's some other members in our family that are a little more stronger willed that will wait for it to come to PC. I will eventually do the double dip, but we'll see. Maybe it'll be a play anywhere title, so I don't
I hope
have
so.
to do a double dip. But yeah, I like what I saw. I still want to see more, but it's just for curiosity, and I'm hoping that Leak Guy has some more stuff up his sleeve. But he was real quiet today. But it's to be expected. The real show was the thing on Netflix. The stuff that he leaked out, I was encouraged by a lot of that stuff. Like not to spoil things for people, but if you saw the Netflix thing, or if you're even seeing it on YouTube, because I believe it's on YouTube now, the basketball part, they already showed that was going to be a thing. um I think he already showed that the way the fighting stuff happens, or the combat in that regard, and the like the size differences depending on what the person does and stuff. So yeah, it was it worth waiting 12 years or however many years. I don't know, but it's going to be well appreciated when it gets here. I'll just put it at that.
Yeah. I saw a lot of people talking about the frame rate as well. I see Stormzy in the chat. Like I'm kind of a frame rate snob myself these days. Um I really wish it was on PC at launch, but in no way am I going to ever say that I'm going to wait for this game, Like I would if it was like a month or a couple weeks, you know? Like I ain't going to wait. I don't know when it's going to happen. So When it comes to PC, that'll be the place where I play it the most because then I can fine tune the settings to be where I want it to be, right? Um, but like what they showed, just in a general like story sense, gameplay sense, like um, it seemed like it is that next level for them, you know. The couple highlights for me, Fuzzy, just from the stuff I saw, the racing looked actually really good. Um, they amped that up, so I was kind of happy to see that. The those other activities that you can do, like I said, that the specifically the one thing that was really impressive was the car chase with the police when you're out the window shooting back at them and stuff, and like the cars were flipping and all that. It kind of reminded me. I know this isn't Unreal; it's Rockstar's own shit, right? But it reminded me of the Matrix Unreal demo. You remember that?
Yeah.
Like how kind of like, wow, that looks amazing, and all that kind of shit. And it ran like shit. It was the frame rate was fucking horrible on that thing, right? But like just the graphical fidelity and kind of like the destruction and how the cars looked and how they interacted with the road when it was flipping and all that kind of stuff, kind of it reminded me of that demo a little bit. Um, and it was like, because that was supposed to be like, wow, this is next level, and back then everybody was so excited for it, and I was like, guys, we ain't gonna fucking see games like this for fucking forever. This is a fucking tech demo. Like that's what they made that shit to sell everybody on Unreal. Look what's capable. Nobody had put out anything that looks even fucking remotely close to that this generation. Which I thought was gonna happen. This is the only thing I've seen that actually looks like something that is on that level of fidelity and like destruction, environment, and all that other kind of stuff, right? And I hope it runs better than that tech demo. Absolutely do. Um, but yeah, it was really really impressive. Couple of things that I didn't see that I would have liked to see. A little bit more humor. Like it was very serious, and I'm glad that it is serious with the story. But and there was a little bit of humor mixed in there. But I would like to see a little bit more cheeky humor things put in, just a few. Not, I don't want them to overdo it and become like this corny thing. Um, but it was very serious toned mostly throughout it. Um, and I would like to just see random chaos in the street. Like it just overall just running around fucking shit up. I want to see like some random. There was a little bit, but I would like to see kind of like a stretch of randomness because in reality, that's how we play GTA. Right? We're gonna play through this story and see all these moments and stuff, but we're gonna be running around acting like crazy fucking people, shooting up random shit, causing mayhem. And it's gonna be a blast. So I would like to kind of see that. Imagine that car chase, the cop chase, was how like the they get like when you get to like 3 stars, you know, and that's just normal, and it's that looks that good and plays that good. That's gonna be insane. So this will be probably the fastest selling game of all time, and it may end up being one of the highest selling game of all time at some point. 10 years from now, who knows? But I was really impressed with everything that I saw, and that's already having like unreasonable expectations for Rockstar. You know, so is there anything that was missing for you?
Um, I think seeing a variety of different houses, like I guess we were in Lucia's house the one
Yeah,
time where he went to, I forget what he was getting, and she was like getting changed or whatever, but maybe more houses or how the garage works in that aspect. I know we had like the one spot under, I guess that was his house, or maybe that was the or under the apartment where she was. But maybe like some of the garage stuff, but that's not as important for me. I think the big thing is going to be, are you just working from job to job, or is it more like some of the quick cut stuff that they showed where you're robbing a whole bunch of the convenience stores, which is more like what you would do for the online. I mean, you can do it in the single player as well. It's just that's where some of the chaos will come into play, where you'll be at 5 stars. Now I'm wondering if we'll see military get involved, or if you have to be near the military base
Yeah.
to have like the tanks come after you or the jets come after you, kind of thing. But yeah, that was badass as far as a lot of the car chase, even the security stuff that they were doing in the I guess it was like one of the office buildings where they were protecting that one guy. It was cool how you would go from the airport to the office in like a little convoy, like your real security and stuff. That was pretty awesome. And then the fact that there was like I guess a takeover or a hijacking where it's almost like Die Hard, where they're like, oh, I guess they wanted to get something out of that guy or get something out of the computer, or either money or some sort of something type of thing. But yeah, that scene was pretty cool as well. And it looks like you can either use guns or not use guns. You'll be able to help each other or each of your characters out by possibly creating distractions or things along those lines. So I don't know if they really showed it as a switch. It was more like they jumped from Jason to Lucia. But I don't know if you have to be on your phone, like sending a message to one to the other to switch. But seeing some of that would probably, well, they no, they did show the one switch where she jumped off the building to do a parachute, and then he was somewhere else, kind of thing. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, you
that
could
that
like
part was
switch
pretty cool.
between them. I like being able to see that. Like one time they switched and he was sitting on the couch chilling with a dude watching TV and they were just talking.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that going to happen when I switch, or are we going to actually just the other characters just doing whatever the fuck, you know? It's pretty
Mhm.
interesting. Are you going to play mainly as Jason or Lucia?
I don't know. I'll probably do equal parts, type of thing. Like it looks like Lucia is going to be the driver, so she'll be like my Franklin replacement. So
Yeah.
having that ability to probably do like the slow mo for the driving, and it looks like he's going to be like the Michael replacement as far as the Max Payne like bullet time type stuff.
Hmm.
I guess there's not going to be a crazy character like Trevor in this deal, but like maybe both of them can be their own crazy
Maybe they
version.
have some
Uh,
crazy surprise, like right before, like who knows? I mean, I would think the leaker probably would have mentioned that at this point, but yeah,
yeah, but yeah, it's going to be tough to say because, like, for the most part, if she's going to be good with like melee as far as kicks and punches, or like taekwondo kind of like interactions, I might play as her more. But if he's like the gun guy and he can handle grenades and pistols and automatic rifles a lot better, then that might be my go-to. It all depends, but it's going to be interesting. I definitely want to see how this Bonnie and Clyde like story plays out, and how much havoc you can cause by robbing the convenience stores, and doing dirt bike races or car races or the street races. Which, god damn it, I wish Horizon had Underglow. I know
yeah,
it's a silly request, but it's like that's the one thing missing from Horizon 6 is the Underglow. Oh, and like actual nitrous. Like I don't well then again, I don't know if we really need it, but that would also be cool for Horizon. But seeing that it's in there in the game, I'll get my fix through that, and then really get a fix when it comes to PC, so you can have like the real car models and stuff like
yeah.
that. So we'll see.
Oh, I mean, the mods on this thing down the road are going to be insane. Whenever they come out. Brett Bingham with the $2 super chat says, "Who will do it better with NPCs, GTA 6 or Fable?" I mean, it's like two different kinds of games, really. I mean, I don't think every GTA 6 NPC that you're going to run across is going to have like the ability to be talked to, or have like dialogue options within every person. Like that's the main thing is like if you just talk about graphics, you're probably going to say GTA 6, right? But like if you're talking about what is the purpose of that character existing, whereas the GTA 6 characters, yeah, they're all doing their lives and they all have their lives things, but like the Fable characters are all meant to be effective, right? And they all have the option, the ability to see what your actions around the world do to them, and you can interact with any of them, and have relationships with all of them in whatever form or fashion. So it's a completely different kind of thing. So there's probably also more in GTA 6 NPCs because there's just a bunch of random people walking around. Whereas like in Fable, there's like 1,000 handcrafted characters basically that are living in the world with you. You know, so two different kinds of games, man. It's really hard to compare. But for the reason of interactivity, I would say Fable in that regard because they're actual characters, not just nameless people, right? Whereas GTA and graphics regard probably, you know. And I see Apim says the male character voice was awful. Yeah, that's his voice stood out to me a little bit, like as kind of like he kind of sounds dumb. Like in a Neanderthal kind of way, like hi, I'm Jason, like I am like very one toned. But it's
Man,
also
a few words.
yeah, it's also different. It's not the typical like over inflectioned like character that we keep getting over and over again. Like it was unique in a way. So, but it did stand out to me. I was like, yeah, the voice is kind of a little bit of an annoying. But as the trailer kept going, I started liking his character more, right? And it seems like it's something I don't know if you noticed this, Fuzzy, during the trailer. He would say things, and Lucio would be like, "No, we need to do it this way," and he's like, "Okay, you're right." And it's like it's the guy kind of like that relationship thing where it's like he's not gonna argue with her. She's gonna win every argument. He knows it. So he just defers to, and I think he trusts her judgment too at that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that dynamic that is there that like if you're married or you have a special person in your life, you're kind of familiar with that. You know what I mean? And it was interesting kind of seeing that dynamic between them. And it's
Mhm.
like she's actually kind of running the show a little bit, even though he's kind of being the front person, you know
Yeah.
and even when they were gonna be like, go meet somebody, and she's like, "Hey, I don't think we should tell him everything." He's like, "Okay," you know. And then he
Yeah.
was like, "I think we need to do this." She's like, "No, I think we need to do that." And that's kind of like what it seemed like. And it's gonna be interesting to playing it that way because like it's it's familiar in a lot of ways to many of us just having that, and I think it was very good like writing and stuff that they have
Mhm.
with those decisions. So I kind of like this. I started liking his character more, especially in the end scene that they had, the big one where they were doing the bodyguard job for that big shot or whatever, and then people came into that opening of the place, whatever it was. It's like a grand opening event, and um, he's came across as a badass in those moments, just to going through and taking out all those guys, right? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, lots of
I get
interesting takeaways.
yeah, I get the impression he's probably like prior military, 11 Bravo, basically a grunt, but for the most part with
Yeah,
good with weapons, not a man of many words because he doesn't need to talk a lot.
yeah,
Does does business with the rifle with his hands. So it's like, yeah, no, okay, whatever kind of stuff. And I think for the most part, that might be for the best. It'll be less distracting. So when you're doing stuff, you don't have to worry about being in arguments with people. It'd be like if you feel like going on a rampage in the streets, instead of arguing with people, just either shoot them or punch them and keep moving, kind of thing. So it's going to be a ton of fun, I think. I'm curious to see animal interactions, like if you can have a pet alligator that you walk on a leash kind of thing. I know that's ridiculous. Yes, it'll probably be a PC mod at some point, but it was cool having top for Franklin in 5. So maybe we get either that Rottweiler that we saw, or not Rottweiler, pit bull that we saw in the apartments as a pet later, or maybe he gets a pet alligator. Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like it's going to be some fun.
If you do want to have a pet alligator, you can have one in Far Cry 6. Just letting you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Just letting you know. Uh, I see, some Pim says, so no outside activities if he has a gal. Well, so like they addressed like the fact that I guess towards the beginning of the game it comes across that they want to have a relationship with each other, but it's up to your decision whether you want to go down that path or not. So I don't know in what sense that means. I don't know, right?
Well, they're without spoiling things. If you don't want to be spoiled, cover your ears for the next minute. The leaks showed a nudist club or a nudist colony or whatever,
Right.
and I believe there's a couple of strip clubs, just like there's been in every
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto. So I'm sure if Lucia isn't doing it for you, there's the strip club. But I guess it depends. I would assume since Lucia's in the game, maybe there's male strip clubs too, if that's your thing. But I'm pretty sure you have that choice, or maybe it's an open relationship, so it doesn't really matter. You can have Lucia and go to the strip clubs and have however many girlfriends in your phone that you want. So
This is
this game,
GTA.
there's
Like,
people are going to know life this game for like a year or two. So productivity in the month of November is going to be down for just about all companies around the world.
yeah, that's November 19th, man. Like, biggest like media launch of all time and of entertainment, probably, right? Like, what is that day gonna be like? I mean, it's because it's like interesting in a way that, I mean, GTA is GTA as well, right? So there's probably gonna be some controversy amongst it, like because all these clips everywhere is gonna be shown. But at this point, people know what it is. Like and it is what it is. But like, I think it's like gonna be this massive moment of just like every fucking body is playing GTA. Like, how are they gonna handle like the Xbox and the PlayStation servers and all that shit? I mean, how much overload is there gonna be? I hope they're taking that shit into account. Like more people signing on probably at once than ever this generation. I mean, you'd have to probably go back to, or I don't even know, like to a time when there was way more consoles out there, I guess. But even then, it was things weren't as connected online. Like I don't know, man. Like it's crazy. I think this will boost console sales leading up to it. Now, people knowing that it's not on PC aren't going to want to wait. So for PlayStation and Xbox, um, I can't check the Discord comment, Brett, because like I'm using Discord for this. So, if you want to put it in the chat, let me know what it says. Sappho says you can have the option of playing one or both. Can I swap out Lucia for some? You can swap between Jason and Lucia, and then whenever GTA Online launches, you can create your own character. Um, it still needs PC to be the biggest. Pim says 5 released with almost 200 million consoles. Um, I mean that is the thing. That what is referring to is about like there was more consoles back then. Um, like between Series X and S and PlayStation, there's probably like 130 million roughly, or 90 or I mean, 120 to 130 million between the two. Maybe something like that. You're on mute, Fuzz.
I think there's a little bit more than that between the two. But oh, real quick, Switch 2 players out there, do not even think or expect this to come to your device. If they're not putting it on PS4 and Xbox One, you can almost guarantee that it won't be on Switch 2. I would happily eat my words, but I just don't think that device will be focused on or targeted because they would have targeted the other gen. Not saying that the Switch isn't better than those previous two. It's just that's kind of the box that one would fit would be more with the previous gen. So since they're not doing previous gen, probably not doing Switch 2. But happy to be wrong. If they do some sort of streaming thing, maybe I guess that might be an option.
Yeah, they could do like a
But
cloud playable version at some point or something.
yeah, but yeah, the big thing with GTA 5, it spanned 3 generations. It hit 360 and PS3.
Yeah.
It hit PS4 and Xbox One, and that includes the One X and the One S and the PS4 Pro, and then it got the PS5 and the Series console. So that sold like gangbusters, being on all those generations. Plus, and I think this is the biggest reason why it sold as much, and people can argue with me in the comments if they want. This game did a weird trick to get people to buy shark cards. You could either buy there was a period of time where you could buy GTA 5 for $39.99, or you could buy GTA 5 with like a $30 or $50 shark card for $39.99. It was better just to buy the shark card for cheaper buying the game again than it was to buy the shark card by itself. Because I know one of my sons did that twice. So for the most part, and that was as a digital copy. I don't know if they did anything on the physical side of things like that, but I know I bought it physically for PS3, PS4, Xbox One, and then I bought it digitally for PS4, Xbox One, and then I bought it for PC. I refused to buy it for PS5 and series consoles at this time, but yeah, PC is definitely going to be a big help when they release it, but the reason why they're waiting is because the PC crowd buys the game and don't buy shark cards because they don't need to. They can mod the game and do whatever the shark cards would get them. So they're not going to get much money other than the sale of the game. Now, if they did single player DLC, it might be a different story, but I don't think they're looking to do that for this one since they didn't do anything for 5. So
yeah, like I'm just curious what like kind of numbers it's going to do at launch. Like
I think launch, I think it does 40 to 50 mil within the first month. Like it might even be the first week it does 40 mil.
Yeah, it might be pre-orders. Fuck. Like I don't know, man. It's gonna be crazy. I mean, what a like time like just in general like for gaming. We just had some of the awesome news at Gamescom. We have Gears E-Day is coming around the corner in October, and it looks fucking incredible, man. Story looks like it's gonna be so good. And the beta, it was a blast. The multiplayer was great. And you have November, like the biggest gaming launch of all time, right? Um, for people like me, December we get fucking Dune and Avengers Doomsday launching in December, and then in February we get Fable, which looks fucking amazing. And there's lots of other stuff in between. And like today, like I said, there's 2 brand new great games that just launched today. Like, it's absolutely crazy. Danny Pasha says, "Nah, 20 million in the first month is a big number to get." It is. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just I don't know if we've seen a phenomenon like the hype for GTA before, where people have been waiting for so long for something. The only thing I can really think of, Fuzz, is going way back to when I was a kid or a teenager. I mean, and Star Wars came back to the theaters. Like, do you remember that when like they were like, was the first, it was Phantom Menace, right? It was the first one of the prequels. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before a Phantom Menace, like the lead up and the hype and the talk about Star Wars coming back and releasing, I remember that. I remember people outside of the theaters for fucking days dressed up in fucking stormtrooper costumes and shit. I remember watching the news and stuff and them seeing stuff, people in their tents and living there for like a fucking week ready to see Star Wars. It was something I'll remember, probably like just that moment of seeing that. And then the movie came out and everyone's like, yeah, it was pretty good. They hated Jar Jar, you know? Um
Yeah.
the next two movies were better in my opinion, but the
Yeah.
moment that they had then, this is the GTA 6 release. It kind of reminds me somewhat of that, you know. Um, I don't know if there's been a game that's come out that's been this weighted on or more anticipated ever, you know. So it'll be interesting to see what happens that day.
Yeah.
There'll be some chaos, I
No,
bet. I hope nobody dies.
I don't think it would be that bad because, well, here's the thing. I remember the midnight launch for 5 back in the PS3 360 era, and how many people lined up in the area where
Yeah,
the GameStop I specifically went to was probably one of the least trafficked ones in my area, and it was still ridiculously backed up with people waiting. Um, People don't do midnight releases anymore. I'm pretty sure GameStop will well, no, because they're not going to have even the physical copies that are just the code in the box. I don't think those are going to be day ones. I think those are going to be many months later. So there won't be a midnight release type of thing, um, except for maybe people buying Xbox gift cards or something like that, or the game cards if they even have them at GameStop at that point. I'm pretty sure they will, but I can't imagine them doing a midnight release on it type of thing. But I do think 20 to 25 mil day one. But the 40 to 50 mil I'm saying is like I think within 30 to 60 days, I think this thing, I know it sounds ridiculous, but if I'm not mistaken, what was it? The first week, I think 5 was over 11 mil, and then it went to like 20 mil before by the time the month was over. Um, yeah, there was probably more buzz back then, but I think there's a lot of pent up buzz. And yes, I think it was Danny that was saying it in the chat. Kids today aren't as enthusiastic, but some are. Not as many as when we were their age, but like a lot of them, a lot of us that are in that age range of over 35, I think are pretty jazzed up for this game. And then the ones that are under 35 that may not have even bothered with 5, there's a decent number of them that are probably looking forward to this, even if it's just to see what all the buzz is about it, kind of thing. It's like, oh, you get to rob banks and run over people and blow up stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
I'll give that a try. Oh, the online is where you can troll people and have, well, you could do this in 5 with the hover bites and stuff, but there'll eventually be an online for this as well, which I'm waiting to see what they say, if that's released the same day or if that comes later like it did with 5, because I think they delayed that like a month or two after the original release and stuff.
yeah. Um, so I was looking it up, Fuzz, and like I saw somebody say it already had 20 million in pre-orders. I was like, I don't think so, because I'd heard like 4 or something, and right now I guess it was the latest numbers that came out was like around 4.6 million in pre-orders already. You know, so I imagine that jumped up significantly after today. Maybe goes up to 6, 7. That's 6. Oh, fuck me. All right. Um, anyway, maybe it goes up around there. I don't know soon, but I think the closer we get to launch, you're gonna see those numbers still increasing. And then a lot of people don't pre-order games. Like I don't. I'll just buy it when I see that I can like install it and it's there to play, you know. So unless there's some specific thing like maybe the day before I do it or something like that, you know. Um I could see it hitting I could see it hitting somewhere between 20 and 25 mil in the first week. And then within the first few months, probably around that 40 number that you're talking about. And then over the course of the next 10 years, will it surpass GTA 5? I don't know. That'll largely depend on GTA Online and how well they establish that and get that going, right? For the new iteration. Because I think that's going to be their biggest hurdle is getting all the GTA Online addicts to like what they do. Like, I'm not saying maybe it'll be easy, like because this is going to be that amazing. I don't know, right? But you have this community of people that have all this time and all this shit invested to be jumping into the new game, and it's like trying to get some players from going to like imagine players going from like Fortnite to Fortnite 2. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, how do we do that? You know, because you're not migrating unless you just change the map and just automatically all these players are GTA Online players for GTA 6. But then it's like they'll be mad because they miss out on it. So I like. I remember. I don't remember who it was. Somebody said this in the chat. Maybe it's Calorie. Um, somebody was like, they should put a air like the air in the airport in GTA Online. You should be able to fly and go into GTA Online for GTA 6. So that way you can kind of combine it. You give GTA Online currently like a big update, you know, so that way you can take your character into GTA 6 Online. That you've invested all that, you know, and maybe they have to start over in a new city if you go into the new city or whatever, you know. Figure it out. But it'll be an interesting thing that they're a hurdle because it is such a big audience that plays that so consistently. That it's always a risk of like if we move we they're gonna play the new one. If they don't like it, then do we lose those customers still? You know, like do we at the not they end up not liking going back and playing the old one? You know, like you got to try and migrate that audience as well. It's not just the campaign people, you know. So it'll be interesting, man. I can't wait to see everything that's gonna happen. You know, that's what fun speculation's all about. We just fucking look to the future and is like it's hard to figure out exactly like the ramifications of things like distant digital or like um GTA 6's launch, when it's gonna come to PC or when all this stuff. It's just fun stuff to talk about, man. So um can't wait for the later in this year. Awesome for everybody here in the chat. You guys rock. Thank you all for being here. Thanks for checking out the streams this week as well. We've had a lot of fun with Gamescom and all this stuff. Fuzzy, tell everybody where they can find you, sir.
Well, as always, love doing this podcast with you on Thursdays. Sorry I missed out last Thursday, doing some filming stuff. So, for the most part, hopefully, get this first film out before the year is out and get the next three that we've been working on done early next year. But outside of that, play your backlog, people. There's a ton of games coming out between now and the end of the year. You're going to need to make room, and clearing that backlog is probably the best way to do it. But as always, it's always fun being on here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. We greatly appreciate it. And you can always hear my rambles and rants on Twitter and a variety of other places. Just do a search for Fuzzy Belvedere and you'll be able to find me. Thanks again.
Yeah, right on, man. I see
Mav,
that.
tell them where they can find you.
Oh yeah, right here. Next week, but also some random times between now and then. I was just going back and reading the chat. Um, there's like a discussion going on about the sales. Um, let's see. Stormzy says, "Why do
Yeah.
you care how much it sells? You ain't get." I don't. Like, I mean, it's fun stuff to talk about, man. Like we're just speculating, bro. Ain't no gatekeeping conversation. We're just trying to figure out, like, hey, like if it doesn't sell well, does it affect any of us? Does it affect him? I mean, he doesn't care. But is it interesting conversation to have about how much a fucking game's gonna sell? Yeah, you can talk about something without caring personally about it. Let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, Big Blue Ravens. I wanted to mention this. GTA 6 story says 80 hour. Is it supposedly 80 plus hours potentially? And that means if other people are putting the numbers out there, it'll probably take me 100. Like whenever the people are like, hey, this game takes 3 to 5 hours to beat, it's for me, it's like 7 or 8. I never understand how they come up with these numbers. It's like a bunch of Jaspers out there playing them and timing it. Like I don't play games that way, you know.
Well, there's a whole slew of speedrunners that purposely do stuff a certain way. Like I remember when my sons were trying to do the speed run for GTA. I think I forget how it was. It was something like you could play normally and get the game beat in 23 hours, or you could do the shortcut method where
Yeah,
you're clipping through stuff and breaking the game basically, and you can get it done in like 26 minutes, and then it was something like 8 minutes or 13 minutes or something. I'm like, is that even fun at that
yeah,
point?
I know.
That I gotta stand on this building, parachute down, and hit the helicopter, die, and then I wind up over here. No. It's like I don't want to have to, perfectly time my death to wind up spawning somewhere else to kill this guy, and then oh yeah, you've skipped 3 chapters, and
Yeah,
it's like I just rather play and have fun. I don't know,
I
but
I
80 hours, that's a lot of time.
I don't know if I'll ever beat it because I'll just get lost into random shit every time I play, you know. And then something else will come out, and then I'll go back to it, and I'll be like, I don't want to restart it, so it's like games like that. I end up kind of just living in the world, you know. Um, well, again, thanks, Fuzz. Yeah, like Fuzzy was asking, you guys can check out on Twitter if you want to join the Discord. The link is in the description. If you want to follow on Twitter, it's at Fun Speculation. Hit the notification bell, sub, all that kind of stuff, and you will be notified. Hopefully, if YouTube is working properly when we go live. And I doing a little bit more streams, so probably be back again this weekend, maybe for a game stream. Zero Company, possibly. Maybe some more Madden, I don't know. But come check that out if you want to see it. And hope you have a good one. Hope you're excited for all these fucking games as I am. Peace out, everyone. Take it easy. Bye.